What's up, everybody? It's your boy Javier. I hope everybody's having a good Friday. Um, this week has been hectic, right? This week has been very, very hectic. I just got back from a bike ride, so my legs are really, really sore. If you hear somebody eating in the background, don't worry about it, okay? Um, but I hope you guys are having a good Friday. I hope your week was great. I hope you guys got work done, you know. This week's been really rough, as you guys know, but one thing I want to congratulate before we even get into discussion is George Floyd's, or Derek Chauvin's trial from murdering George Floyd. I'm glad that he was found guilty on all counts. Thank you, God, for that. I had my doubts, because y'all know, look, history has written itself that, you know, cops can kill people without any, repercussions. So I'm glad for that. But I saw a lot of businesses already preparing for themselves for, any type of rioting or anything. But I think it's been peace and calm. So I'm glad for that. But we still got, Adam Toledo. We have that trial. We still have the other cops that were involved in George Floyd's murder that's happening, I believe, in August. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that and don't hold your breath. Then you also have Dante Wright. Y'all know what's going on with that. And then you also have, I don't want to mispronounce her name, but it's Makia Bryant. The girl that was just shot for having a knife. I'm not even going to go into that. It's just the same old bullshit. So we're just going to move past that because I have some stuff I have to give to you guys today that matters just as much as this, and that's sexual assault. As y'all know, sexual assault has been happening since the beginning of time, and even in some countries it's legalized, and sex is very taboo to talk about. But this is strictly talking about childhood rape, adult rape, as well as forgiveness and being aware of your surroundings and access. So we're going to be covering that, but tonight we're going to be covering strictly childhood rape and some of the signs. As me personally, I'm able to firsthand tell you guys and give you guys signs on bringing in step parents or someone into the household or who they may hang around with, illusions and stuff like that, and how early rape can start. So let's get into it. Hope you guys have your drinks. Cheers. Forgot to do that when I came on the show. So the reason why I decided, and coincidentally, this has worked out perfectly with being able to upload now, is because tomorrow is National Rape Day. Not sure if you guys heard about it, but it's all over. It was like a trend on TikTok. It was a trend all over social media. I think it was a group of guys, not sure if they were black, white, or whatever. They came up with this day for National Rape Day. So that's what made it more important for me to talk about. And this is the best time to talk about it right now, because I wanted to fully kind of cover George Floyd's trial not sure to say George Floyd's trial. I always say because it just, it's George Floyd. But Derek's trial, and then get back to this at some point in time. But to just dive right in, you have grown up, like a lot of my family members have been sexually assaulted a lot. And as you guys know, I've told you guys, I'm born and raised with all women. My grandmothers, my moms, my cousins are all females. And I'm not going to put their business out on Front Street or anything like that, because that's not for me to do or to say. But it's really more about bringing awareness to this for children's ages. There's a movie called Woman, Thou Art Loose. And parents, when you are bringing a significant other into the home, you have to scope them out. You have to scope them out no matter what. No matter if you found them in the damn church, no matter if you found them at the gas station, no matter if you found them at work, no matter if you found them down in City Hall. You have to scope them out because you don't know what they are. And you can't bring someone into your child's life without them fully understanding and grasping what the sense of that could be. And you have to watch them at all times. It's not about having trust issues. It's about watching them. It's about seeing how they interact with your children. And a lot of times predators seek out vulnerable women, single mothers with children. Not just, because of that. If you're a hardworking parent, a mother, and it does rarely happen where fathers are single fathers, and they then have women coming in and sexual assaulting their kids, but it's mainly with single mothers, because the fathers are the ones that feel like they can just drift off and leave the child, and the mother is now carrying the burden of having to raise the child. So when it comes to bringing someone into the home, whether it's a friend, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a significant other, make sure you scope them out. Make sure you build up a trust with them, and you watch their every move with your child, how they interact with them, how they look at them. Because sometimes they can be so nice to your child, but they're giving that gleam look at them, like, giving them that sweetie eye, like, y'all know the look. Make sure you guys are, watching your children. And if your child is telling you, hey, I don't like this person, or really question it. Because your kids are like dogs and cats. They bark, not kids bark, but you get, animals bark because they have that like we all have our 5 senses. But dogs and cats have a 6th and 7th sense where they can feed out bad energy, negative people. And so if I dare you get a dog and train it, and then see if that dog reacts to that person a certain way. And if they do, you really need to take a look and a step back and really evaluate this person. Babies, when they get close to babies, when a person gets close to babies, if the baby's always crying, there's a bad energy there. There's something wrong there. So when it comes to your child expressing their feelings to you about your significant other, don't brush it off like, oh, well, I'm giving you the best years of my life. I'm sacrificing for you, so I'm gonna have my relationship with with him or whatever. And that's not, no. As a parent, you take a back seat. When you have a child, you're not the priority anymore. Your child is the priority. And so you need to treat that as such. So every person that comes and walks into your home is not everyone that's going to be by your side. So you have to make sure that you are bringing someone into the home that you can trust. And when your kids express their concerns to you about that person, about that individual, you need to make sure that you are looking into it. One thing I've learned to do is, just because your child is telling you this, you're like, oh, sweetie, you don't know nothing. You don't know nothing. What do you know? You're only 5 years old. No, they're going to tell you stuff. They're going to say stuff to you because they believe that there's something wrong with this person. And you need to take hint and note to that. One of the things that pissed me off about Woman Thou Art Loose was the fact that she told her mother, hey, he touched me. He touched me. And the mother didn't believe her. 1, because she was in denial about it. 2, because it was so hard to believe that he would have done it. And then 3, she was scared because she didn't know what to do. And she believed her child. But she was so scared to lose a man that she allowed a rapist to stay in the home. And for black people, black women especially, just off the top of my head, without even giving you exact statistics yet, black women are most likely 3 times as likely to be sexually assaulted by a father figure, whether that's biological father or stepfather, by friends, by classmates, And so you have to not just teach your child to say no, but teach them to know the signs, Scope out people, Listen to your child for anything that they tell you. If they say he touched me, or if he said that he's looking at me weird, or if he's saying that, get us and sit down with your child. Say, hey, what do you think about him? What do you think about this about him? What do you think about this? What do you like? What do you dislike? Because when you bring a child into the home, you guys are already a package deal. He has to understand that. He or she, whoever that is, has to understand that, And what I'll be talking about on Sunday is the proof that not only in adulthood, men can get raped just like women can. But for children, and I'm going to give you statistics in a minute, children go through a lot more trauma when you bring in an outside source, an outside significant other. that you have not fully scoped out yet. You don't know why their previous relationships worked out. You don't know, and you can check their names on the National Registration for rape, for predators. You can, and it will give you maps of where they live. And the episode I'll be up that's for Sunday, I literally looked up people in my area right now. There's one that's right up the street in my friend's apartment complex. I'm telling y'all, they're nearby. You just have to watch out for the people that you bring into your life. Not everybody is kind, and everybody has an agenda. Promise you they do. And believe your children, because they go through psychological changes when that type of stuff happens to them. They don't understand it, and they may not be able to verbally explain that out to you right then and there, like, hey, he raped me. Because you don't want to teach your child that early. But if they're saying to you, they're touching him here, or he's doing this to make me feel weird, or he was in my room, or this, that, and the third. Look out for that. He got a drinking problem. Look out for that. Because a lot of times when you get that liquid courage in you, then the truth of that person really comes out about who they are. And for kids, I'm giving you statistics right now. And this was done by the United States Department of Health and Human Services for Children. The United States Department of Health and Human Services Children's Bureau. And this was not necessarily a recent study, but it's basically factual. And it's 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 20 boys is a victim of child sexual abuse. Self-report studies show that 20% of adult females and 5 to 10% of adult males recall a childhood sexual assault or sexual abuse incident. During a 1-year period in the United States, 16% of youth ages between 14 and 17 have been sexually victimized. And mind you, this is not just happening in the reference what I was speaking to toddlers. But a lot of sexual assaults happen around that 14 to 17 age, because it's all about experimenting with your body, dressing a certain way. And it may not be provocative to them or to you as the parent, but to someone else looking at them, they're analyzing your child. Like if they had X-ray vision, they're basically scanning their body. People, homeless men, anybody. And then you have, over the course of their lifetime, 28% of U.S. Youth ages between 14 and 17 have been sexually victimized. Children are the most vulnerable to CSA between the ages of 7 and 13. And a lot of times, one thing I will say, I'm not a crime analyst or anything like that, but a lot of rape victims, their cases go unreported. So if your child is telling you something bad has happened, go directly to the cops, because they have to do a rape kit. They have to do, they get a CPS involved. It may be scary, but you have to do it. It's protocols that the law enforcement has to follow in order to protect your child, because your child has more rights than you do. Sadly. But when I mean sadly is if you understand what I mean by that. But just to think though, and I'm giving you guys both sides. The rapists, they probably have been victimized as well. So it's just like a generational curse of, well, this is I experienced this, so I think, and they may think it's normal. Now I'm not standing up for them, so don't badger me, y'all. I don't condone it. What I'm saying is a lot of times rapists are the ones that have been raped themselves. And it could be prison, it could be when they were a child, it can be when they were adult, intoxicated, pills, and stuff like that. That's why if you let your kids go out to parties, my mom always taught me, when you go out to a party, son, if you set your drink down and you leave it, do not go back and pick it up. You don't know, somebody could have put something in your drink, spiked it up or anything. Make sure you got your phone with you at all times. Don't be leaving with nobody else by yourself without telling me where you're going, But I didn't really go out for parties or anything like that. But, it's really vulnerable out here. They attack the most vulnerable communities, and that are minorities and blacks. Where there's crime, there's perpetrators. And where there's perpetrators, there's victims. And where there's victims, there's pain. They look at all that, and they suss out the ones that can't fight back. And those are your children. And they can't articulate things or express things. And a lot of times, then you're threatened by them, or you're scared of them, so you don't report it to the cops. Report their ass. Get them off the streets. Do what you have to do to not only protect your child, but your community, because you never know. They could have been doing this to 4 and 5 and 6 other children, and you don't know anything about it. So it's very imperative that you stand up, not for just your child, but the children that could have been already assaulted by that person, or potentially in the future be victimized. It rests on your shoulders. You know? If you're not reporting it, then you're allowing it to happen. And I know in some states like New York, I know in Colorado, I'm not sure about down here in Florida, but they have that like 5-year grace period where you can report a rape, but it makes it harder to prosecute them, because when you go through the rape, going through a sexual assault, they take you to the hospital, they get you a rape kit, they get blood work done to make sure that you haven't contracted any STDs. They take your statement because they want to actually get it fresh from your mind. They go to your apartment, collect any not to get I watch crime now, and I watch Law and Order SVU. They go to your apartment and swab for DNA, whether that's semen, prints, hair follicles or hair, any saliva, anything and all that. They do that. That's why it's very imperative that you believe your children. There are going to be some times where children, they may say it, but it came off wrong. But don't say, if they touch you, say, oh, they just touched you. That's fine. That's normal. You don't know that. If your child is coming to, or your children or child is coming to you, look into it. Ask questions. Okay, he touched you. Where did he touch you? And continue to probe and ask those questions. Probing means like you continue to ask questions to get to the nitty gritty, so that way you can fully understand what your child experienced, to be like, is it really like something bad, or was it just something that they just want, leave. It's like the open door policy. Like my job, every job has that open door policy, if you guys are aware of it. Allow your child to have that open door policy with you. Have that safe haven where they can come to you about anything and everything. And don't just brush it off because you want to keep your man or keep your woman around you, because you don't know when the next one's going to come through the door, or you don't want to be lonely for the rest of your life, or that your children might be lying. Kids don't lie like that. Kids don't lie. Kids don't lie. Never do. Coming from firsthand experience, y'all. I've been a victim too. So like my mom was a victim. My sister was a victim. My cousins were victims to rape, or for some form of sexual assault. Some of them even contracted STDs from it. It's very imperative that you listen to your children. You watch out for your children. You don't just send them. And the funny thing when I mean so funny, it's ridiculous, is that it's even in your own family too. Watch out for your family members. Because the very same ones that you instilled your trust in may be the very same ones that are assaulting your children. And see, they don't look at it as wrong because it's a family member doing it. So they're like, oh, that's what's supposed to happen. My uncle is supposed to touch me, or my cousin is supposed to touch me, or my brother or my sister, or my father or my mother, or my grandpa, anybody. I'm not telling you guys not to trust in anyone, but tread lightly with people. Tread lightly with them. Suss them out. There is such thing as things too good to be true. Sometimes. And if someone seems too perfect, start looking for flaws. It's not about searching out and be like, okay, well, no, I don't deserve this type of person. No, it's about, is this person seeming like they're too perfect? Because everybody has flaws. And if they haven't showed you not one flaw in the time that you've known them, then there's something to look into. There's something. Ask their family, ask their friends, look at their Facebook, look at anything like that, because sometimes those hinted things be the very things that give you the answers you need to make the determination on whether the environment that you're putting your child in is safe enough. And not just for that child, but for you. Because there have been instances where the boyfriend rapes the parents, rapes the mother and the children. And I know this generation, we have shifted, because back then a lot of rapes happened, and it was more, especially in like Baptist and black people families. They just said, oh, you're gonna, like, I was watching, it was so crazy, I forgot the documentary. It was about all of these women that have been sexually assaulted by their predators, and they had to marry them, like they married their rapists. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys, and you guys watch this. I'm telling you guys, you watch this. And there was another one where it was a man with a van. This one, they got raped and killed. Let me see if I can find it for you guys real quick. But while I'm doing that, I'll explain it to you. There's like these group of women where they've either had children, and they've not only children, but they married their rapists, like their parents. These predators scoped out young children, and since they were in the religious families, since you had sex with that person, now you have to marry that person. And then not only that, then you're forced to still have sex with them, which is still rape. And then legally, by law, now that you're married, it's not considered rape anymore. But in some states, they have passed some laws where if your wife says no, it's a no, and that still can be considered rape. But it's a vague law that anybody can get around because you're married now. So it's basically you're giving consent to be able to have sex all the time. Basically, that's basically what marriage is saying, and that's not the case at all. Not the case at all. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. Married. I married. Oh, it's called I Was a Child Bride, The Untold Story. And it's literally like women upon women upon women. This one woman had like 9 children by her rapist, and she was married to him for like over 15 years. Another one had 2 children by her rapist, and then he began stalking her because she wanted a divorce. And some of them, and then some of these women passed laws in their own states to try to eradicate this pandemic of rapist. It's crazy. Make sure you guys do your homework on your people that you bring into your kids' lives, because then it is about you, but it ain't really about you no more. It's about them. You have to look out for their well-being at all times. Even your friends that you've had for 20 years, don't trust them. Because they can do some things to your children. And I'm not trying to scare you guys, but I'm trying to get you guys to look at that your children are more vulnerable than you. It's children, women, men. That's in the list of the vulnerability. And your children are innocent lives. And sadly, that's what predators like, innocence. It attracts them. It's like when someone bleeds, or it's like when you have zombies that see humans, it attracts them. Vampires, blood, vampires, it attracts them. Piranhas, when they see movement, they go after it, they attack it. It's like that dun dun dun, like that. Like, have you ever seen Jaws? When the shark is coming after them, it's like that. It's like they're on the hunt for it. Gotta make sure you're looking out for your kids. And ladies, look out for yourselves too. Look out for any signs that could give you the inclination that he's not here for you. He's here for your child. And a lot of children are not just raped, but they're kidnapped and raped and killed. or child trafficked, part of the child trafficking. You know, get sold out into Tijuana, Mexico, or across the Atlantic Ocean to someone in Italy or France or Russia somewhere. You know, and it's getting crazy out here. It's getting way more crazier than it is. It's been crazy, but it's getting more crazy. And then in the day and age of your kids on phones, this is the devil. It's one of the greatest things of invention ever that white people have created, but it is a big detriment to the kids. So make sure you put your kids on parental control. Make sure that you have a tracking device on them. Like I told my friends and stuff, I was like, you know what? When I have children, what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna have them implant of chips into their bodies that my children will never know. So that way, if my children are taken, I know where they are. I can track them on their bodies, because when their phones go dead, like I find my iPhone, when your phone is dead, you can't locate them anymore. And a lot of times you have to have a family plan to even track your kids. Like Sprint, you have to have 5 or more people on your line in order to be able to have a family plan tracker, even without the phone not being on. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. Because what if your phone, somebody steals your phone, you know? But, yeah, you know, gotta make sure you're doing it, y'all. Gotta make sure you're watching out for your kids, watching out for yourselves. Believe whatever your child says, and do not take it lightly, because a lot of times, like I said, the victims become the predators, and victims become drug addicts. They end up on Skid Row, psychological trauma, PTSD. They suffer it. Then a lot of times they may end up going into harm's way, like becoming a soldier in the military, you know, and then they get more PTSD, and then, you know, it's a never-ending cycle of hurt and pain, y'all, that if you do not deal with it with your child. And and here's the thing, it's not just putting the predator away, making sure he's get convicted. It's also getting your child a psychological therapist. Getting your child a psychological therapist to be able to talk through what happened and express their pain, you know. And then on top of that, making sure that you guys stay aware of things like these. And to all the parents out there that in this video, that or in the documentary that I told you guys about, that married their children off to their rapist, I wish you guys were here in front of me, because I would fuck you up. Because that's not something you do. It was painful to watch. It really was, because these were beautiful, innocent women, and literally their lives became, and to think that your children then become the product of rape. And every time you look into every one of your children's faces, just thinking about all those 9 kids she has, you know how much strength it took to not see her rapist in every single one of the father of her children, her ex-husband, in every single part of her children's faces. And then it sucks, because you have to now love that child with the most unconditional, because that child didn't ask to be here. He or she did not ask to be here. And you got to give that child the same love as if you consented to having sex with that person and the baby daddy walked off, or the baby mama walked off, you know. But make sure you guys stay aware of the signs. It was small statistics to give you guys, because I didn't think you guys needed that much, but because I didn't want to scare you too much into it. It was really more about me give you guys hindsight into childhood trauma, you know, and make sure you guys are looking out for your neighbors too, your kids' neighbors. Send them up the street to Aunt Peach's house. Who's that Aunt Peach's? Who hangs out there? Scope around the scene. Like my mom, when she sent us somewhere, she asked where I was going. She said, "Okay, who you going with? Okay, who, if you going to their person, their house, who's their mom and daddy? What's their first and last names? What do they do? How old are they? Okay, who else usually goes over there? Who else besides you and that person going to be there? How long are you going to be there? When are you going to come back? Are you guys going anywhere else after this? What do they do for a living? You know, ask all those questions. This new day and age, they don't do that. They just let their kids go out, don't do shit, you know? And then they end up talking to people on dating apps and stuff and getting kidnapped. Or talking to people on social media that are catfishing them, telling them like they're 14 and 15 years old, but little do they know there's a 30-year-old man behind that screen. Texting them, saying, hey, let's meet up here. And then your child is gone forever. Stories for days, y'all. Stories for days. Stories for days. And one last thing I'm going to tell you guys in regards to this whole religion thing of marrying off your children or this whole religious thing where parents can have sex with their children based on their religious beliefs. In every religion, whether it's the Quran, whether it's the Bible, whether it's the book for Buddhism or whatever, there's always contradictions when it comes to this rape thing. But we as people have to acknowledge, and we are able to acknowledge what is right and what is wrong. If someone is in pain, why force them to have sex or anything else? Because does that it doesn't differ from the good book. It's about what's right and right and what's wrong is wrong. And remember, the Bible or whatever was written at that time for a reason. And in the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament always contradicts each other. In the Old Testament of the Bible, God was more vengeful. God was doing this, God was doing that. Now he's more of a forgiving God. Now he's more of this type of God. You know what I'm saying? It's always contradictions. And that's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the contradictions. But it's being able to decipher what is right and what is wrong, what is acceptable, what is not. Don't put your children through the trauma that you may have experienced. And don't take your frustrations out on your children. Because a lot of times parents become the victims and then they have children and then they take it out on their children. And then a lot of times parents, because their parents didn't believe them when they were sexual assault victims, they don't believe their children. And then it becomes a cycle and a cycle. Oh, no, he didn't touch you. Why are you lying on him? Why are you doing this? You always gotta lie. You were just a fat, you a fast, what I'm thinking? You a fast girl. Get your fast tail self in the house. Put on a long dress and stop wearing those cut short, skirts or whatever. Oh, she was just being fast. She got what she deserved. This is why I tell you for not being fast. I hate that. But look out for it, y'all. I appreciate y'all watching this episode. I will see you guys tomorrow night. Make sure you guys get some rest. And like I said in the promotion video, please stay safe, guys. Tomorrow is National Rape Day. The predators are out tomorrow. Make sure you're protesting safe if you're protesting tomorrow. I know in Orlando we are. Make sure that you guys are staying humble and aware. If you gather, take groups. If you go out tomorrow, take groups, guys. Make sure you guys are going and not dropping. Make sure everybody's getting home safety. Make sure they're texting. Stay aware tomorrow because they're going to be out. All right, guys. Well, I'll see y'all tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon, actually. Stay safe and well. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Avir Vassal. You can follow the show on The Analytical Eye Show on Facebook and Instagram as well, and Twitter at iAnalytical. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace and love. Cheers.